But it was called the Half Hour Comedy Hour. And this was like in the 80s when they used to use the phrase that comedy is the rock and roll of the 80s, that it was really having this huge boom of stand-up comedy. And people that were working clubs, but again, because there wasn't the prolific nature of television, they hadn't been on TV yet. So people that were on this show that I like placed and lit and got cameras were like Ray Romano, Chris Rock, David Spade, Adam Sandler. I mean, this was like, and we were scouting these people. I would go to clubs and I go, oh, Pauly Shore, he's kind of funny. I'll write that down.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
This is what the sort of advent of the big stand-up comedy boom. Of course, there was, like anything else, there was a bubble burst after that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I go down through that, if I probably look back at those, the people that we were, and they had never done TV, so we shot them doing their stand-up set, but then we also would have them in little interviews and little skits with the hosts and stuff like that. And I didn't do the live in this comedy club stuff, but all the other stuff with these names that are now just like huge. Jerry Seinfeld, these huge household names.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it was just like this little show at MTV in the late 80s. This was like 87, 88, something like that. And then so when myself and a couple other people that were working on that show went to go and be part of the launch of the Comedy Channel, which became Comedy Central.
So your career was soaring.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like you were very much on the rise. You're in the middle of a whole new industry. And then I believe the next part of the story is you head out to Denver in 1993 and have an epiphany. Talk to us about that. I mean, that moment and what took you away from this industry.
Yeah, I mean, I will, while that is lovely, that's probably the memoir version, but I was, to be fair, when I went to World Youth Day, I was, as we say in freelancing work, I was between gigs,
Okay, okay.
But I was really not with a big home run regular full-time work, and that's why I had enough time to go to World Youth Day, and I spent a couple extra days. It was Colorado. I was like, hey, I've never seen those mountains. Let's go for a hike, And again, I had really been very much involved in church and faith and, prayed, and I lectured at Mass, and I was still running retreats. I mean, again, that's what I thought people did when they got home from work, And it was the first time that I really had the sense that this is what God wanted me to do more with all of me, not just full time, but, all of who I am and all that. And one of my first reactions was like, wait, I thought you wanted me to do this. I've been doing this pretty well,
Right.
So what's interesting is when I would articulate that to people, like, I think God wants me to be a priest, but I've been doing all this. It would seem like that would be a waste. God doesn't seem to be all that frivolous. I mean, maybe we could look at some aspects of human history and go, maybe you might come to that conclusion. But at least in my life, had seemed like God would be so capricious to just change his mind. Now do this, my puppet. So it seemed like there was some kind of purpose for all of that.
Yeah.
That was to come. And when I would articulate that the way I just did to you, a lot of people would say, oh, hey, I've heard of this small community of priests called the Paul's Fathers, and they do what you do. Like, they do television, they do radio, they do films and stuff. So you should check them out. I'm like, oh, wait, you mean I could do both? That seems cool.
Wow. Yeah.